Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for February the 7th through the 13th, 2022. So, before we get started, I'd just like to welcome everyone back this week and also to extend a welcome to anyone who might be new to the Angel School community and the channel. So, as we begin this week, just letting you know that I did make an announcement last week that for this year, if you would like to get an angel reading with me, and this is your first time getting a reading with me for this year, you can select the first time promotional angel reading offer on my webpage. The angel reading special offer that I've been offering during the pandemic has ended as of January. But while I was talking about that and reminding you, the angels suggested that any of my clients, if you're having an angel reading with me for the first time this year, and since I made that offer, let's put it that way, since I made it in February, then you could get that angel reading special, the first time promotional offer angel reading for $103 for the hour. Okay. And I will be continuing with the daily card messages. Um, there is a workshop that I'm planning, and the mer people have come through and would like to do a workshop. So as I'm getting gathering that information, I'll let you know more about it. Maybe potentially in a live chat. Okay, so let's take a deep breath and just really center ourselves and just let go. And they really want you to breathe, and they want you to be aware of your inner alignment with your higher consciousness. So they're showing me a tree, and they put a pair of lungs there. So that the tree, for as you know, represents for me your connection to your higher self. So the trunk of the tree, how wide it is, gives me that indication, and it's a fairly moderate width, the trunk of the tree. So they're just asking you to remember to breathe in order to allow that connection to expand. So normally when things are a bit challenging, we forget to breathe, and then we really focus on the external reality, and we panic. And when we do that, we're just being reactive to whatever is happening to us. And this is what causes one to sort of view the world um, as something that's always happening to you rather than something that you are creating from within. And yes, once you are creating something from within, but you can't really um, do much about it once it's already manifested, right? Especially if it's not the way we want it to be, or if it's a little hectic, or if it's chaotic. But what you can do is decide what you're going to do with all of that. And usually, I find personally for myself that, especially recently, it's been teaching me. Um, it's been like a teacher and guiding me in terms of my awareness. It's showing me in some ways how that it's my expectations around certain dynamics, that I have this expectation of fear, and that and that I can change that by the interpretation. So it's the interpretation of what's happening, or the triggers. It's the interpretation of them that keeps creating the pattern. So, you know, it's as if sometimes well, the veil of illusion, and the ego projects illusions. So it's just really as simple as that. One thing is happening from our perspective, while a totally different thing is happening from perspective another perspective of ourselves, that is to say, the higher self. So our ego is projecting one idea of what's going on, one interpretation. Our higher self has a completely different one. And the higher self's perspective is genuine. It's and it's loving, and it's supportive, and in every aspect. It's never presenting things to us so that we can, panic, or create, or to sow the seeds of doubt within um, our plans, or our goals, our dreams, our desires. It never is trying to shame you about your desires, or any form of pleasure that you enjoy. It's not doing that. But the ego, based on a collection of experiences, and yeah, those first experiences with something really make an impact, right, on how we sort of move forward. And the thing is that we keep forgetting the love of the universe, and the free will that we've been given to explore, and to express, and to experience. This is a gift, our life, but often we feel like a prisoner in our lives. We feel like a victim in our lives, and we, we constantly feel as though that someone is penalizing us, and so we have these sort of the right word, penal codes, that we kind of that kind of orchestrate the the way we see things. And so if you're living by excuse me, a sort of penal code, in terms of how your first response to every situation, then this is inhibitive, right? It's creating restrictions and limitations around your ability to experience pleasure, and for the universe to actually, for you to have this sense that the universe is actually trying to bless you. So you might be moving through things right now, and changes, trying to express yourself. But as you're doing that, you might keep experiencing this feeling like, oh God, the ball just drops, like, or like a bomb just goes off after you just get a little bit of joy. Boom, here something happens. I mean, this is a common um, sort of perspective and expression that we often will hear. So it's like we expect, like, that if something good happens, just wait, something's gonna go wrong, right? That's your ego's interpretation. Where on the other side, what might be what you might be perceiving as wanting, what you perceive in terms of change, or how you might say, oh, success is, well, that everything goes perfectly, right? But we are being formed by our guides. The universe understands our condition, our human condition, And one of the things about our human condition is that we our ego keeps trying to lull us into a sleep. It keeps trying to lull us into comforts and luxuries. And not to say that they are wrong, but the way it's the take that your ego has on it, and it keeps trying to lull you into the idea of peace as being something where you never have to struggle, where you never have to, there's never any need for effort. But that is not really what we want. And so we get attached to these, um, we get attached to this thinking, or, this easy street idea. And I just think that there's two forms of this. I've always said that, people have been talking about the new age. A time will come where the world will be, full of peace. And my feeling about that is, yes, that is coming. But what I do believe is that it's not that. I believe that it's more. I do believe there will be a certain a level of harmony and unity that we have, that we will be perpetuating unlike any other time. But I also believe that it doesn't mean that things won't happen. Like, I don't believe that things will be perfect, as I don't believe that's what the goal is. What I believe is that our interpretation of the events and information that come to us will be more, let's say, unconditionally loving, compassionate, the way that we perceive things, so that we are not reactive, but we are responsive. And when I get a sense, when I just say those two words, reactive, I feel a sense of resistance, whether as opposed to being responsive, I see myself engaging, without fear. I'm not trying to escape, because opportunities come to us and we panic, because the first thing the ego says, well, there goes all your comfort, there goes all your time, and it talks about all the stuff that's going from you that you're going to lose, because that's what it's focused on. That's its only perspective, is lack. But what it doesn't share is all the things that you're going to gain. It doesn't even discuss that that you're going to be happy with this opportunity, because it's something that you actually love and enjoy doing. And it can't know what that is, because it doesn't spend any time thinking like that. But your higher self is over here knowing all of that and expressing all of that. But that voice gets drowned out because our ego, we nurture it more. We give it more of our attention. It's like we pet it on its head all the time, even though it's making us feel god awful. But we keep petting it. We keep listening to it, and our higher self over here, we listen in, segments, bits. We're not really, entertaining it, because, whoa, that means I got to make a huge change. That's the reaction. It's like, oh boy, I'm not ready for that right now. And most of the time, you're saying, I need it, but you're over here going to your higher self. Oh, I'm not ready for that, because your higher self always throws things at you that are so out of the box. It's just out of the box, and in our reality, it's like, you should be giving me this right now, because this is what I want. So shouldn't this be what you're showing me now? But the thing is that we don't realize how wrapped up, tied, entangled we are in the ego's interpretation of comfort and peace and all these lovely things. It does do that. The old folks used to say, like, what heck, the phrase you say, even they would say the devil can quote scriptures. I don't believe in that, but I'm just throwing that out. And it's the same thing. Your ego can talk about and have you desiring those, you know, ideals that like peace and comfort and, you know, luxury. But it doesn't want you to move from those places. It wants you to, once you've gotten used to something, it wants you to stay there. And if you're miserable, you'll get over it. You know, if you start having new desires, uh that's not what it's chalked up to be. You'll get, once you get that, then you'll have this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem. That's, and we listen to that stuff all the time. We listen, we listen, we listen. And that's what I mean by we pet it, we nurture, because every time you give it and you go, you're right. Yeah, like I don't really want to do all that. I'm so tired right now. I can't even imagine. But what you can't imagine is the energy, because right now you're tired, and you're tired because you're not satisfied, and you, that other opportunity, you're transferring your transferring your current state of awareness about your current reality to something that's forthcoming, that that in fact is promising completely different conditionings, because number one, it's what your heart is, what you're made for, right? Let's put it that way. Let's just say it like a TI is. It's what you're made for, and your heart resonates with this. And when you are doing something that you're made for, well, the energy is no longer suppressed. It's all released. And let me tell you, you're like a buzz, like a buzz, in ways that you did not know was actually possible or real. And so with that energy release, because when you're thinking the way that your ego thinks, all of that energy is being suppressed in order to keep you. So it's like a drug. Like, you know, people don't want to feel, and then the drug helps you to numb it out. And so the ego's perspective, that lulling, it's drugging, numbing, suppressing your energy. I know that even some of the decisions that I'm making, and since I've decided to just abandon this old paradigm, that I was feeling exhausted before a lot. Now I'm no longer feeling exhausted. It's just energy flows when energy's allowed to flow. And so you have to trust beyond the comforts. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to get uncomfortable in your success. You have to get uncomfortable in the luxuries you own, because the thing is that yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable, but when you arrive and when you embrace it, when you really start responding rather than reacting, it's going to be even more pleasurable, more success than and progress than you were already experiencing. Because when we don't allow ourselves to go with the rhythm or the process of life, which is change is inherent in life, period. And this physical reality, change is what is always it. And if you're not with it, then you are not being fully who you are, which means you are suppressing yourself. You're suppressing the drive, the spirit, the fire. And what it will do is it will turn into drain, because if it can't flow, then you're using something else to hold it back, and that act of holding back is what's draining you, because you're using energy to suppress a power that was never meant to be oppressed or suppressed. Okay, So let's take a look at the Archangel message. We just never know what's coming out, do we? And then, all right, so we have Archangel Raziel. And it's interesting because I saw the word magic or magical. And you have this opportunity. So it's Archangel Raziel's name means the secrets of God. So this, when Archangel Raziel shows up, this means that you're ready for deeper spiritual understanding. You're ready to perceive those answers that you've been looking for. And it may be that you're ready for the question. Because a lot of times we can't find the answer because we really aren't willing to ask the question or to see what the question is that needs to be answered. We always keep going, I'm looking for the answer. But the thing is, if an answer doesn't come, it's because you don't have the question, cause and effect. And I know that sounds weird, like it doesn't sound like it makes sense. But remember, your ego tries to camouflage a lot of things. There's a lot about reality that is actually insane to the ego. And a lot of how we model our world and what we expect from it and other people is based on sanity, which is actually created by your ego. Your ego, our ego's interpretation of sanity is the insanity to your higher self. But your higher self doesn't complain because it honors your free will, which it does not think that your free will is insanity. To the higher self, your free will is sanity, and therefore they would never judge it or judge you in anything that you're doing. But your ego, notice, judges everything, including your beautiful dreams and your beautiful body, your beautiful heart. It judges everything. It like never shuts up. And it keeps you from being able to know the questions you have in your heart. Because once you know the questions that are in your heart, and I think the reason that you get questions first, because the universe doesn't dictate, but it poses a question for you. It's almost like if I'm teaching you, if I say, well, what do you think about that? And just by asking you that question, you start to have thoughts. What? Answers. But they came from you. And it's a process of honoring your free will. So many times it's like, we're looking for God to tell us, or the angels, whatever, tell me what to do. And they come with a question to help provoke you to find your own answers. But I don't think we're always ready for that. And so when we want somebody to tell us what to do, then we don't really want to know the answer. We don't want to know the question that will lead us to really understand our own desires. So in this week, there's something that Archangel Raziel is helping you to discover. And you've got to be willing to open yourself. But the thing is if he's coming through, that means that there is a deep inner knowing that you're ready to explore. That also means that you're ready for profound change and potentially might actually realize some of these things where instead of now reacting, you're going to be able to respond to the changes, to the opportunities. All right, so the message says, seek and you will find. Be a wise one. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the card for the beginning of the week. Oops, and this one fell upside down. This one hit the floor and I picked it up and I Wanted to take a peek, but I didn't. So it's the Tower card. I'm just going to turn it right side up for now. But I'm going to read this as a reversal, and um, I'll see which way I'm going to read it. But usually I've been taught to kind of read it in a way that is an internal perspective rather than an external one, right? So with the Tower card, this would sort of provoke the idea of, a massive and sudden change, right? And that things around you might like just sort of, kind of um, sort of shatter, and that means that you're gonna have to figure out how to pick up all the pieces. But the thing is then the medicine in that is that what this act does, it allows you to figure out which pieces were really valuable to you in the first place. Because the Tower is just like this, all of these things that sort of over our lifetime that we just gather, like it's like scavenging or something, and then we just construct it into something without thinking or knowing that we're doing it. And what it's actually doing is oppressing, you know it's like we've built a castle around our energy vortex, our spiritual vortex, the soul doesn't need a structure to validate it. It doesn't need a place to live. It is not homeless. It is not seeking any of that. It's just seeking to shine. It's seeking to inspire, right? But in the reverse, this might refer to the inner reality. So that you might have a great epiphany that's life shattering, or a revelation that an incredible moment of self recognition is the word they're writing here. They wrote earlier something about health. So there might be a powerful shift in your health, whether it's information that leads to the healing, or it is a spontaneous healing that occurs for you. That's really what I'm getting. And what I love about this card, it doesn't show, you know, the Tower kind of coming apart or anything. But what it does show is the intensity of light that's coming, emanating from the Tower. And then this structure here seems to be uncurated, like the rest of the structure, this kind of classical structure. You can see, but this part is uncurated. It's not in some particular form, and so there is that aspect of ourselves that we need to also pay attention to. There is this structure that we have, but then there is a part of us that's unstructured. It's wild, and untamed. And we need to honor that aspect of ourselves, within ourselves. There are many facets to what makes up our personality, but we're not saying that we need to throw away all of our structure, but we do need to honor that I think our ego focuses on that, the structure, our principles and things like that, our morals even. We focus on it so much and exclude over, what's the word I'm looking for? I know, oversight. There's an oversight in terms of our wild, primitive, side, the disorder, what we call insanity, right? We don't there's an oversight in this, and in there, that part of us, anything can be. We have to work with both sides. All right, so let's take a look at the card for the middle of the week, and this is the Two of Fire. So this is Two of Wands, and this is a card of, well, so this is a card where you're looking out. Usually you're looking out at the world. You see the possibilities in front of you, so choices. And the thing is that's going to be interesting is the effect that this epiphany has on your perspective. They're writing the word challenge, so that this energy, this sort of awakening, or however it comes through, is going to challenge the way that you view the world, and the approach, the choices, the way you were thinking about engaging with the world. So here we have this giraffe, and the giraffe has this lantern. So that's very um, hermit like, sort of, and this deck plays with the symbolism, almost like crisscrosses the symbolism um, throughout the deck, which is very interesting. And with the giraffe, we think of this foresight, this ability to see far ahead, right? And it's a journey, it's a process. You're maybe in a process of really gathering um, aspects of yourself and figuring out aspects of yourself, so that it creates sort of a partnership with your higher self. There's an alignment or integration happening, that's where your inner wisdom, your inner knowing is coming through, and you're starting to find your purpose in the world, and or starting to formulate that vision. But it's the choices that you're dealing with right now. Even if you're struggling with them, it's bringing this something into it's bringing something together that will create a clear vision as you move into the Three of Fire. All right, so let's take a look at the card for the end of the week. And we have the Messenger of Air, which is in this deck. The messengers are the knights. And so this gives a sense of, needing to make clear decisions, right? And possibly a swift one. So you can see all the feathers coming out of her, mixed in with her hair. The This gives you a sense of, thoughts and ideas. Maybe this is someone who is often put in a position of having to make a lot of quick decisions, and you may, and this might become easier out of this epiphany, that you'll have this sort of clearer sense of direction about where you're going. So it almost feels like with these two cards, the energy is very quick, abrupt, right? So, you may need to be aware that this process here is going to be an abrupt process. The choices, the opportunities in front of you, you may not have a lot of time to, mull over it. And the thing is in terms of, instead of being reactive, be responsive, okay, to what's in front of you. Don't be afraid of getting uncomfortable. Don't be afraid of getting uncomfortable in your success, in your comforts, in whatever it is, your expression. Maybe something you're used to doing things a certain way, and this kind of like sort of rips you from that, and you feel like you're having to, figure things out all over again. But I feel like this is a part of the process that's going to lead you to the acceptance of this new vision. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the card that I've already pulled from the bottom of the deck, and it's the King of Earth. All right, so this gives us a sense of establishment. All right, the kings are the masters of their element. And so this definitely says that it's something in related to your career, um, or even your health or your home life, something that that this shift is going to somewhat happen in this area for you. So this is where the decisions are being focused. If you know if it's some other things coming up, I would really focus on this and not let those other things um, distract you. So, you might have some really quick business decisions to make, but that this is saying that you can trust yourself, okay? That and that you can trust the situation that's being presented to you. That the situation is a solid investment or a solid plan. So, really, you may want you may want more certainty. You may want more answers, but listen to the questions that are formulating within you, because you have the answers to them. The answers are within you, but you got to be open to the question that your heart is asking you, that guidance is asking you, as they are trying to honor and stimulate your free will. So I'm saying the word chastity, like don't hold back, don't restrain yourself. Um, you know, um, I don't know why that word is coming up, but it makes me think of vows of chastity in in a past life or something. There might be some kind of past life or past within this lifetime, some decisions that you made, um, and they were made out of the context of that time. They don't apply to you now, okay? And don't allow yourself, and I know I'm defining this word a little bit, I'm thinking of it in a much broader sense in terms of restraint, that one puts on their ability to have pleasure, and in many areas of your life. And in this area, don't feel that you don't let your fears inhibit you. This is not a time to, I would say, this is a time to invest, you know, so that you got to spend money to make more money. So this, I feel like it's like it's okay, like where you may normally guard, and you're very frugal and blah blah blah. You're saving, but okay, we do that for such a time, and that's really the idea here. You know now this is, once you make this choice and this opportunity is presented to you, um, you got to think about long goal, the long term goal, right? Of what this might produce for you. So if, even though it might, in your current state, in your reactive state, your ego is like, oh, you do that and you'll blow it all, right? But if this is something that you love, and this is something that just empowers you, and you know that what you will do will empower others, you can feel it. This is what you have to trust, that you can feel it. You can feel the dream. Sometimes I can have a strong feeling about a person or the interaction before we meet, and it's just something that's just always been that way. And you have to know, or like, you just know, you make a certain choice. I'm talking about something simple as like, eating at a particular restaurant, or you have a taste for this food, and you just know you can taste how good it's going to be. And when you get it, it's like that, even if you're preparing it. Um, but the idea is that it's that same kind of instinctual knowing. And if you have this feeling, gut feeling about this, then you have to trust this, and you have to be willing to be uncomfortable in in order to step across that threshold. All right, so I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and I really pray and that you can call out Archangel Raziel to really enhance your inner wisdom to come forward at this time of very profound manifestation, and that you are able to tap into those inner questions that are leading you out of or from the circumstances that no longer are serving you, because they no longer fulfill you and they no longer provide you the happiness that you deserve. So have a beautiful week, and God bless you.